Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Tuesday, September 16, 2025, here for my annual WIP parade. So WIP stands for Works in Progress, or Work in Progress. I have over 100 of those, so this will be a long video, so buckle up. I'm going to film it in sections so that I can get it done reasonably. And so right now I have one section up here, and I believe I have 6 sections. A lot of times I start with finishes, but I have my travel piece is real close to finishing, and it will probably be finished before the end of these days that I'm going to be spending filming this. So I'm going to save my finish section until later in the week. But so first off, the next section alphabetically on my list is Fancy Ladies. So that's what we're going to start with. I have 24 Fancy Ladies. Smokey is in here with me, so we'll see how complicated she makes this. The Fancy Lady category is where there's lots of bling and lots of fun fabrics, and most of them are Mirabilia brand, but I also have Lavender and Lace, Butternut Road, Joan Elliott, and Nora Corbett. So this is what we're going to start with. So all of these are alphabetical. I will give you fabric information as I go through. Something to take note of, I do all of my Fancy Ladies on 32 count over 2 over 2 strands of floss over 2 strands of fabric thread, except for a couple of them that I'm doing tiny. So I'm doing 1 over 2 on some, because they don't have any beads, so I can do them small. But everything else is 2 over 2 because it needs to be at least a 16 count square to fit the beads. And so that's what I've chosen to do. And I don't do skin 1 over 1 unless it's charted to be 1 over 1, and most of them are not charted that way, so I just stitch them regular. So that's what you can see from all of these. So we'll get started. The first one is Adia, the Garden Fairy by Mirabilia. And I don't know, some of these are out of print, some of them are not. This one is MD41. If you're looking for it, the trick will be finding here we go, finding these in my pile over here. This is on, I believe, the called for linen, which is a dirty Zweigart dirty linen, 32 count. And there's September WIP parade. I will put a before picture. If there is not a before picture, I will say probably no progress. And I am going to be working on this one here soon. I have not yet worked on it yet this year that I know of, so, but I may have worked on it at the end of last year. I don't remember. That's the problem with filming in September, is my brain likes to plan for the whole year and switch over in January, but I have time to film this gigantic movie in September, not in December or January. So this is when I do it. So that was fun. Hopefully, if there wasn't any before progress, there will be soon. My goal this year was to try to get everything at least a little bit of attention. And so since the year's not over, some stuff has not yet been touched this year. So for sure before, well, yeah, for sure before the next one. I'm hoping that every year there will be some progress on these things. That's my goal. So the next one is Mirabilia's Ashley's Roses. This is MD40. I believe this one is out of print. All of mine were picked up along the way, like regular price in the stores or in the shops. You know, nothing was procured crazily. I've just had these for a really long time. So this is also most likely the called for linen, a 32 count cream. And I'm working in the top. This is her hand starting right here. And so still haven't gotten to her yet, but I want to finish up all the bits on top before I move down. Because as you'll notice, everything is in a roll. I stitch in hand. And I have a video, maybe I'll link it here, of how I stitch, because if you're finding me for the first time, that might be of interest to you. Everything I stitch rolled up in hand with like a poke and stab method, not the sewing method. So my next one is Celtic Ladies This is a collage of the 4 lavender and lace Celtic ladies that are standalone full-size patterns, but I've cropped them and rearranged them to put them in one because I'm already doing the Mirabilia seasonal queens. So I was gifted all 4 of these along with some of the needle paint cottons. So I'm like, I don't need another whole set of fancy ladies, but it could be fun to do part of them. So that's what I'm doing. This is 32 count lamb's wool linen. And I have tried to do like parts of each season within the season when I pull it out. And winter has the least amount done so far, still missing its W even. And then spring, summer, and autumn. And I have done a color conversion for some of the hair and skin, but all the dress colors and things are all as charted. Then we have Christmas Visit by Butternut Road. This is one of the 2 that I have on a tiny fabric. Mine is on 46 count. 46 count Vintage Misty Rain, 1/2. And I've got the start of the door and I'm working from the top down. So she looks a little creepy right now, I will admit. So next time I work on this, I'll have to finish her face. I think I was using this for some daily 30 challenges, just a little bit at a time. And because normally if I'm working on one of these fancy ladies for my regular stuff, I won't stop mid-face. That's just not what I do. But if I was working on it in little chunks and expected to come back for another little chunk in the future, I could see just stopping with the end of a color. So that's what happened there. Now I have Mirabilia's Cottage Garden Fairy. I don't think I have very much done on this one, but it's a pretty one. Okay, yeah, I'm like, I can hardly remember. I haven't worked on this much at all. This is on a dappled hollow Lugana. I don't remember what brand. If it's Color and Cotton or something else. But see, I have her face done. I like to finish their faces. And it started up on the wing, so yeah, lots more to go on this one. But I love that fabric. No, this is Under the Sea Fabrics, I think. I think that's what this one might be. I put the names of them on my list, but not the brands, so. Then we have Daisy Girl, which is an old Leisure Arts leaflet. I started this ages ago, probably high school, college, 25 years ago. But I have since restarted it on a new fabric, so I'm making progress again. This is now a 32 count fabric, like a mystery, a pale sagey green color. And that's my starting point, or not my starting point, my progress since last time. I did do a little bit of this not that long ago, so it should have some progress. 2/2. This is a smaller one size-wise, and I would like to get some of the smallest ones I recharted into my pattern software so that I can use Pattern Keeper and hopefully chip away at some of them. The bigger ones, it's not worth my time, most likely. Maybe eventually I'll change my mind. So I'm doing a lot of the bigger ones in marking them off in books, where I just take a picture of the pattern and use my finger to highlight what I've done, and that does help. Since the patterns for a lot of these are giant, it does help me keep my place and follow along. I can zoom in and all of that. So there is that benefit. Edwardian Lady, I just picked up the digital copy of this recently. So this is by Joan Elliott. So I will be able to do this in Pattern Keeper here next time I work on it, which is fun. this is it. This is a 32 count Fairy Mist Lugana by Fabric Flare. It's a printed fabric, so it's got white on the back and the colors on the front. That's a fun one. Hopefully I'm leaving these up long enough for my before pictures. I sometimes am forgetting that I'm having before pictures, but you're seeing the pretties either way. Then I have Foxglove, which is Nora Corbett brand. Nora Corbett is the brand, the designer behind Mirabilia, but she has a different line that's just under her name that are smaller. So these are, if you're liking the thought of Mirabilias, but you don't want to go that jump in head first, try a Nora Corbett because they're a lot smaller. This is on a 32 count blue-gray linen. I need to search this, it looks like. And I don't know if I've worked on this yet this year, but this is a pretty one. And this is one that's small enough that I would probably take the time to retard it into my software so that I can, and what I mean by that is literally just plotting one symbol at a time in my pattern software. It's not, there's nothing magical or quick about it. It's a long process, which is why it doesn't happen very often. Then we have Garden Prelude by Mirabilia. I just worked on this a little bit this past week. Just one day's worth of progress, so, but it is something. So I'll do an up and down before and after for this one. It's 32 count Lugana in Wedgwood by Color and Cotton. It's a very pretty. All the arches at the top are done. I need a lot of all the flowers. Most of the flowers are not done yet. And then she's got a big dress. So there's a long way to go on that one still, but there is a lot of fun to see already. So her whole head and hair ribbons and violin, that's all complete. Then we have Halloween Fairy by Nora Corbett. This was in a magazine back in the day, and you can now get it on Hirschner's website. And it says Trick or Treat, but they have a different fairy that's also called the Trick or Treat Fairy or the Halloween Fairy. Both of them have been known by different names. So I usually call it Halloween Fairy. Regardless, I think that's what the magazine called it. So this is another Fabric Flare fabric, so it's only one side. And this is a 32 count mushroom slushy. And the top is all done. So all those beads and the moon is finished. And like this part I think is mostly done. So, but there's a lot more to go on the bottom half. So this one should come out in October for at least one day. I like to bead as I go, which is a benefit from stitching in hand because I don't have to worry about Q-snaps or hoops or whatnot crunching the beads. Then we have Isabella's Garden, which I think I started this spring, so there will not be a before picture. This is a lavender and lace, and it's so cute. I'm doing this on a 32 count. Did I write it down? Nope, I don't say. It's a 32 count green, olive green, willow green. I can't remember. But it's dark enough you can see the white. I did one of the bubbles to show that the white's gonna stand out. And then I did some of her hair and ribbons. So that's a nice start. Not too shabby. This is another one. It's small. So it's one that is a good candidate for retarding. So try to get a lot of the lavender and laces and butternut roads, not all of them, but some of them are on the smaller side. So they are easier to work on and finish as well. Mirabilias are definitely the largest of all of these. Then we have Lady of the Flag. I just worked on this on the September 11th, a few days ago, just for a few stitches. But I think I did more of it in July, so it should have some progress since last September. This is a Stony Point linen by Witchilt. It's a nice blue-green color. And I started in the middle, worked my way to the top, and it's pretty much completed from here up. And so I'm working on the flag most recently, but then I'll come back and work more on her dress and flowers and things. So that's a fun one. I do, because these are not in Pattern Keeper, I have become a little spoiled with using that app. And so I love these, but they're not as simple to work on. The process is not as simple. And I do also enjoy over one stitching a little bit more than I did before. Now a lot of these are over two. So it's a little more effort to get them out. So that's why the progress is slower than on some other things. But they are not forgotten. They will continue to come out and play, just in smaller chunks. This is a Mirabilia's Lady of the Mist. And she's pretty. Again, not a ton done on her yet, but she's on a 32 count light denim linen by Color and Cotton. And I have very small margins because she should probably be on a fat half, but I didn't want to buy a fat half. So again, since I stitch in hand, I can afford to have smaller margins. And if I have framed many Mirabilias myself, so I know how to do it with small margins. And if I need to, I can sew some fabric on the side to stretch it better. So not too worried about it. That's that one. Then we have Mayday Merriment by Joan Elliott, which was found in the Cross Stitch Gold July 2010 magazine. It's this one in the corner. I picked this up on the freebie table at a retreat. And this is the full-size picture. And you can also actually find this as a freebie on the Joan Elliott Facebook page, which is a slightly different version. They have some beads in that one. This one doesn't have any beads. So my version is not having any beads. However, this one is charted for, you see like 3 or 4 purples in this dress. I chose one hand-dyed cotton that I'm kind of gonna stitch in a pattern, like a drapey flow, to try to make it look like, using one floss instead of 4. And I've already done that for most of the hair. I haven't really gotten started. I think I have done her bodice that way, and I like how it looks. So this is another one. I think I got this one actually in Pattern Keeper now because I went ahead and got the version off of her Facebook group. And I'll import my progress from the magazine version. So I'll be using the digital version now, which is nice. Mine is on a 32 count Spring Morning Jobelin by Color and Cotton. And I think I might have done a little bit of hair earlier this year. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to working on the dresses and getting this one done sooner rather than later. Hey, kitty. You're back. Then we have Nantucket Rose, which is a lavender and lace. And this one I have done a red hair conversion to make it look like Anne of Avonlea, because that's what the scene reminds me of from the movie Anne of Avonlea. So this is where she's at. And I also converted the house to be the coloring of Green Gables. So that's where I've been working, and she hasn't gotten a lot of progress lately, but now that the color conversion process is over, I can just stitch what's charted. I think it'll be a little bit more straightforward from here on out. Then we have Once Upon a Time. This is a Butternut Road. Things are falling. And this one, I think it does have a little bit of beads. So, but I am doing it on the called for fabric, which is a 32 count natural. I was considering doing it on something else, but then when I pulled, I actually found some of this fabric, and it was like the perfect complement to the background castle scene. And I'm like, I'll just go with what's called for, because that matches very nicely. So I started with her hand because it was near the center, kind of worked my way to her face, finished her face. She's got some beads in her hair already. And then worked up the archway, which has some metallic in it as well. And then I'm filling in the background before I'll move down the rest of the thing. So this is nice. I like this. It's a fun one. It's a fairly recent start. Then we have Peony Garden by Mirabilia. This is also a newer start. And this one calls for a lot of silks. So I was given the pack of the silks, so I can do that. And I'm excited to try them all out. I'm doing this on another fabric flare. This is Smoky Blue Dyed Effect. So the back is white. And this is my start. So again, I started in the center, and I picked colors that kind of lead towards the top so that I can work from the top down. So I have her face done and started in on her hair. And hopefully I can get to some of the flowers pretty soon, because those are pretty. This one actually, it says, where does it say it? It says 32, and it was packaged for 32, but it's very tight. I think it's actually a 36. I think I measured it. And so I think it was labeled wrong, or they chose the 36 and ran it through as a 32. So the printing says 32. But it is effectively a 36, because I don't remember these printed ones ever shrinking before. So I'm probably going to have to adjust the beads on this one. I don't think there's a ton of beads, but I'll have to adjust them, I think, to petites to make sure they can fit. Then we have Petal Fairy by Mirabilia. She's pretty. And I ended up putting her on a nice rich green, because I felt like that would be better than the tan that they've got going on there. This is on 32 count Creme de Menthe. It's a nice green color by, I wish I had the brands for you. I don't remember. I bought it from Acorns and Threads, so maybe they could tell you. But I have the beginning of her bodice, and then I worked my way to her, this is part of her wing, and up to the stem, because the stem is at the very top with the flower, and then I can work my way down. So I was kind of finding my way to the top still on this one. So there's that one. It's warmer than it always looks on camera, but there's only so much we can do about the colors of things. Then we have Roses of Provence by Mirabilia. This is a nice, really pretty one. They're all really pretty. This is a 32 count Stonehenge linen by Color and Cotton. I thought it was a nice green, grays and greens. I thought that was, and a little bit of purple thrown in there. A good backdrop for this one. And as you can see the sparkle, I've got her hair beads and treasures already put in there, so that's so much fun. Next time I could probably start working on her her roses, you know, this whole bit up here, so that'll be fun. Yay. always something to look forward to. All right, then we have Stargazer, also by Mirabilia, sense of theme. This one, my one and only foray into hand dyeing fabric. Finding a really dark navy at the time was difficult, so I did my own. So this is a 32 count white MCG Textiles linen, which I double RIT dyed with indigo RIT, and it turned out just the way I like it. And all the stars are finished. And I have done a color conversion for her outfit to be more like me. So her hair is a little lighter, and I think these ribbons are the same, and her front dress is going to be the same, but her jacket's different and these bows are different. So this reminds me, I have a Google Drive folder with color conversions in it. So, and this is one of them. And the hair on Nantucket Rose is in there to make her look like Anne of Green Gables. Trying to think if there's anything else. So I do have that, and I will link that below. You can go take a look at that if you want to check out my colors to do something similar. Oh, hi. Are you going to sit with my things? Then we have Summer Queen by Mirabilia. I have Autumn and Spring and Royal Holiday all finished, and they rotate on the wall above my desk. And so I need to finish Summer, and later on we have Winter, which are not done. So this is Summer. This is on a 32 count Oyster by MCG Textiles, and she is probably the least far along of all my queens. And so she looks really funny too. I started working on her hair, but then her dress situation looks so bizarre. It would be nice to get that fixed, but I want to work from the top down. So that's where we are right now with her. And Oyster is it's a very, very close to white, but it's slightly warmer than white. So when I had 2 packages of these MCG textile linens left in my stash, and I did the other 2 seasons on them already, one was white and one was Oyster. I'm like, well, Summer needs the warmer color of white. So, and Winter got the crisp white. But before we get to Winter, we have Villa Mirabilia. This is another oldie that I'm pretty sure is out of print. I bought this and kitted it up on one of our first anniversaries. An LNS we came across. I believe this is called for, this is willow green. So I think the green that the Isabella's Garden on is like an olive green, potentially. This is a fat half of fabric, and it needs every bit of it. This is all I've done so far. I'm trying to finish this pot up here. I did one length of thread already on it this year, and hopefully I'll get some more on it. And then eventually, once the pot is done, I can go back to her pretty dress. And maybe one day this will get finished. But in the meantime, it will be fun to work on all these pretty colors again. So I am looking forward to finishing that pot. And second to last, Winter Queen by Mirabilia. I think she's the first one I bought, but then like the third one I started, because I just kept getting drawn to the other ones that had more color to them. This one's very monochromatic, but then once you get started working on it, there's a lot going on in here. It's quite pretty. So yes, the middle is, started in the middle, worked my way up. And this is the white from MCG Textiles. And her head is completely finished with her crown beaded and everything. So fun. And she's got purple flowers in there, a little bit of green even. So yeah, she's not boring. Pretty. And last but not least is my second one that is on 46 count. This is also Vintage Misty Rain, the same color as the Christmas Visit towards the beginning of this section. This is another lavender and lace. pretty sure. And I have, this one I have already recharted into my software, so it should be done sooner than later, maybe next year. And so this is a 1/2 project because there's no beads in here. But I love the colors, it's very pretty, and it works up pretty quick because it's not that big. So that is all the fancy ladies. I will probably not film anymore today, but I will come back for my other categories tomorrow and probably the next day, and maybe even the day after that. We'll see how long it takes me to get through all of the projects. There were 24 in the fancy lady category, and I don't think I have any more starts on the horizon, although I have more I could start, but not anymore at the moment that I know of. So with that, I will come back with the next category. Hi, it's now Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Smokey's here with me again, yay! She really enjoys being in here these days while I film, so that's fun. So I have today the largest category of WIPs, which is full coverage. It's by far the largest category. I have 43 full coverage projects in progress, and I'm not mad about it. There are a few that will probably get finished in my lifetime, but I know most of them will not, and it's more the process for me. A lot of this category is just for fun. See the picture slowly emerge. So the first one, these are all alphabetical. The first one is African Woman with Peonies. 2, I guess there's a second one, by Artisy. Artwork by Frederick Bazille. This is on a 25 count Prim vintage cloth. And I am not sure if I have done anything since last video. I don't think I've worked on it yet this calendar year. This is a 2/1 tent, half stitch on the 25 count. You can already see, the pictures starting to emerge. This is her hand, some flowers, her head. So yay, that's so fun. It's not too big to be unmanageable. So that's a nice one. What are you doing, kitty? She's helping. All right, next we have Quick Stitch April Fairy. All right, so this one I'm doing like a stitch by stitch diagonal method that's very methodical, so it does take me a little longer, but it's a 28 count rose Monaco 1/1 full cross. I'm enjoying the process on this one. This is the only one I'm doing this on. And you'll find a lot of my projects are, oh, I didn't show you. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs. This is a quick stitch, artwork by Hannah Lynn. And I have some designs are in this category are full cross, some are half cross. And I get questions about why I pick what, and sometimes it's just my mood, whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes it goes along with the pattern. I feel like full crosses can complement a cartoony design better than a half cross, because sometimes in half cross you do end up with, it's not, like sometimes the lines will look more diagonal or choppy depending on which way you're going. So something like this, that's kind of a cartoony, it's got line art, I want to do a full cross. But if it's more of a landscape or something, half cross is usually okay. Speed for half cross. Sometimes if I want to shrink a design but it's got blends, the smallest I can go with 2 strands is a half cross on like a 28, 25 count. So that's a decision there. So there's a lot of factors at play, and sometimes it's just what I'm feeling like for a particular thing. I feel like this kind for this piece. So there's a variety here. I have Autumn Montage by Pain Free Crafts, artwork by Janet Stever. These are now retired, unfortunately. They just retired at the end of August. This one is on a 28 count Mushroom Lugana, I believe, 1/1 full cross. Again, I thought this lent itself to full crosses pretty nicely. So that's my progress on that one. Then we have Mini Bear Time Stories by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is artwork by Randall Spangler. And I just finished a rotation on this, so you're seeing progress before my update video. So here's this one. This is a 40 count Verdal in white, 1/1 half cross. This is the whole design. I did spend a good amount of time working extreme cross country. Now I'm trying to fill in the bear's head per my instructions for my son, who this will be for. At some point I might try just going back and typewriter methoding it, because I kind of want to fill things in more. So we'll see if I keep doing his method of picking a chunk, like a person, not a person, but a thing, and filling it in. We'll see. Then we have Mini Bird Song, Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Tatiana Fedorova. This was the first one I did 40 count 1/1 half cross. I found I liked it. So this is where this one's at. And this first page is done, and this is the start of the bird. I'm just kind of filling in things, picking symbols. My version of when I say typewriter method is where I pick symbols in a left to right, top to bottom fashion. But then once I have the thread on my needle, I'll stitch it wherever it goes in the vicinity. And then I'll go back to the top to bottom, left to right, to pick the next symbol. And sometimes I've gone across the very tippity top row doing that. Now my current preferred method is doing the whole 10 by 10 block and picking all the symbols in a 10 by 10 block wherever they go, then going to the next one and doing all the symbols in there. Because it's a little easier once you get in deeper into the pattern to find your place if you're working within a whole block. Because usually charts are marked off like that. So that's what I mean when I say that. I'm not doing stitch by stitch along the top like a typewriter, but I'm choosing my symbols in that fashion. And then doing cross country. Finishing the thread wherever it goes. Next is Bits and Bobbins by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Elizabeth Welker. This is a very new start, I think, yeah, in January. So there's not a lot here yet, but it's very fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more. This is a 40 count, oh, I just had to say linen. I think it's a raw linen. And 1/1 half cross on the 40 count. So there's some purple there right away in the corner. So even though it's background, it's colorful and fun. So I love that. Then we have Cat Alphabet, Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Irina Garmashova. I'm up in just this cat block right now. I'll probably try to finish the whole cat alphabet block before moving on to the A. This one will take me forever. It's giant, but it's fun. This is another one where the colors are just happy, and it's a pleasure to stitch on. This is a 28 count Ivory Lugana 1/1 full cross. I think I had another project on this fabric trying to do it with a tent stitch, a half cross, and this particular Lugana was too floppy to do a half cross. It was warping quite a bit, so I do not recommend a half cross on Lugana. Monocos and Jobelins and Congress cloth, those are all great choices for half cross. But full crosses, I was like, well, what else can I do with this kind of flimsy fabric, the Lugana? Let's do a full cross. So this project I felt like, again, was a little more cartoony, so I felt like it would benefit from being in a full cross, and so I chose to use this fabric that I'd gotten rid of, restarted another project that was on here, and now I'm doing a full cross project on it. So that worked out. Waste not, want not. She is just getting pretty feisty over here with all my projects. Yeah. You're so silly. So much cardboard. A lot of my rolls are used wrapping paper tubes with a post-it note taped to the bottom. Nothing fancy here. Next we have Cat Bookshelf, Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Randall Spangler. I am only doing a little bit of this one right here, just this book, The Tale of Two Kitties. So it's a nice quick one, hopefully. This is a newer start as well. So this is a 28 count Water Lily Jobelin, 2/2 half cross. And I've got the first, well, technically there was a little bit of background. So technically the first row like ended here, but then the second row of 10 by 10 blocks is also filled in, and I stitched those colors wherever they went. So now I'm filling in down here. Pretty fun. You're so silly. No. Okay, this is I was debating if I should even put this in my WIP list because I'm stitching with this along with my daughter. She has her own version of this, so I think that's why I kept it in here. Cozy Cabin Kitties by Cross Stitch for Everyone. And she's stitching hers on a 16 count Aida. I'm stitching mine on 28 count. Let's see. Oh, I didn't write it down. Beige Jobelin. So here's my progress on mine. I only work on this when she is interested in working on hers, which is not that frequent, but I put in one length of floss whenever she wants to get it out, and that's where I've gotten to. And you can kind of see the start of the mommy's ears, the mommy kitty's ears. So, but now I'm going back and doing some background like I like to do to work from the top down. So she started where the little orange kitten is. So she's working on him. Then I have Delightful Waltz by Artisy, artwork by Leonid Afremov. I just worked on this recently too, so if you watch my update videos, you will have seen this recently. This is a 40 count Silver Moon linen, 1/1 half cross. And I found the linen is actually pretty nice to stitch on. It's not as even weave, but it is a little, holds its own a little bit more sometimes, and the holes are nice and big usually, so it actually works pretty well for half cross. And this is a pretty colorful one as well, so I'm looking forward to doing more of this at some point. Next year I hope to give everything at least 2 days instead of 1 like I did this year, because I'll have fewer things I'm trying to focus on finishing, so I'm just going to spread the love a little bit more, and it'll be fun to give these a little bit more time. Now we have Heaven and Earth Designs by Emile Vernon, mini elegant lady with a bouquet. Yeah, making sure it's the right one. This is a 25 count vintage barley, I think. 25 count barley vintage cloth, 1/1 full cross. I think I started this after I finished Quick Stitch Irises on 25 count full cross, and I thought I need another full cross project on 25 count because I didn't have any. So this is the one I started to scratch that itch. So now I have a full cross 25 count. I think I have another one too now, but that's why that one got started. Like, you need a reason, right? All right, then we have Empress Eugenie by Golden Kite, and I believe I'm going to be restarting this one. There is a version by, I think, Black Swan AU, and I know they might have some questionable patterns, but this one is a antiquities, so I know it's fine for them to chart it. It's a brighter original than this one was made from, and I like the brighter colors. So I have this is the one I originally did on that floppy Lugana, because it has blends, so it needs a half cross. So I decided to restart it on some, what is this? Monaco. So I could do the blends with the half cross. But I think I'm gonna restart it. And so I'll show you, but probably the next time this comes out will be a restart, just so that the colors will be brighter. I'm a little torn because I do like it, but I think I want it brighter. So here is where it's at right now. This is 28 count Dove Gray Monaco 2/1 half cross. So I've got some background in there, and this is the start of the first lady. I think this is her profile and her hair, her neck. So, but yeah, I think I love the colors in the other one. It's a lot richer and brighter. I guess not richer, it's brighter. Not as dark, especially around the edges. This one gets pretty dark. So I think their original picture is brighter, so I like that better. Okay, then we have End of the Ball, also by Golden Kite. And this one's dark, has a lot of browns too, but I'm pretty far into it and I don't know that there's a good alternative anywhere. I have a needle minder that someone gave me that matches it, which is fun. Because see, like this picture is a little brighter than the one that I'm stitching, but that's okay. I'm okay with this one. This is my current state on this one. This is a 24 count Congress cloth 2/1 half cross. And Congress cloth is a canvas, so it's very, very stiff, but that is a nice thing for holding its shape against a half cross. And this is about halfway across the design. There's still a good amount more to go. This is just where the curtains ended, or the wall ended there. So that's where the colors were ending, but there's more to the design. I'm not to the end yet. Next we have The Flower Garden by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork by Emil Vernon. I have like 3 of his things. This is a large one. I may eventually crop a little bit off the bottom, which just dress and steps, but for now I'm way up at the top. And this is also a Rose Monaco 28 count 2/1 half cross. And just a lot of greens there for right now, but they are pretty colors to work with, so just need to get back to it. It's one of the largest ones I have. It was my largest at one point, but I think a couple other things are bigger than it now. So if it's not going to get done, but if it's going to get progress, it needs to get worked on. So I look forward to getting back to that one. This is Friends of the Library. This was a Busilla kit, I believe. Artwork by Nancy Rossi. And it was a needlepoint kit, and I didn't like the process of needlepoint where you have to follow the printed canvas, and the pattern they had that went along with it was like chunks of color, but it was stair-steppy enough in the blobs that they had for the chunks of color that I was able to rechart it in my pattern software, and now I can stitch it in Pattern Keeper on fabric, cross stitch fabric. So I'm now doing this on I think this is an 18 count Aida. Yeah, 18 count ivory Aida 2/1 full cross. And I love it. It's fun. It's nice blocky colors. I started with the needlepoint down at the bottom with the cats, but now I'm starting at the top like I like to do and filling it in from the top down. So there is a little bit of backstitching on this one, not a lot. There's some in the lamp and like the whiskers and things like that. So I'll get to that eventually, but that's a fun one. Quick Stitch Grand Library Romance. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork by Amy Stewart. This is one genre from her Grand Library shelf pattern. And I am stitching mine on a 40 count French lace linen. And I'm stitching it from the side because it's kind of long and skinny. And so far it's going okay. 1/1 half cross on the 40 count French lace. Yes, I'm busy, Smokey. And that's the fun one. You can already kind of see the bones of the old buildings along the street back there that they have. So that's fun. Then we have Grapes by Golden Kite. This is one of my older ones, and I've got a good amount done on it, so it'll probably need to be a focus piece before too long, because I think this would be fun to finish and display in my home. So this is an 18 count Fiddler's Ada 2/1 full cross. The top row is all the way finished, and I love the realism of the plaster and the wood and the sky and everything. So, and the, you know, leaf, the grapes coming out. So it's pretty fun. And the bottom is, you know, around here somewhere. So some of these will still get time yet this year. So hopefully we'll continue to see progress on them. Next is He Is Risen by Donna Gelsinger, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm doing this one a little differently because it has these words here. I felt like the words needed to be full crosses, but I don't need everything else to be, like all the sky doesn't need to be full cross. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing the foreground in full crosses and the background in half cross. So all the sky, clouds, that's all gonna be half cross. The He Is Risen, the cross, and the hill will all be full cross. So I'm going to show you this one, and then I'll let Kitty out because she clearly doesn't want to be in here anymore. So this is my start. This is a 28 count Monaco, light blue Monaco, looks like. Or just a light blue even weave. I think it might be MCG Textiles perhaps, but so yeah, all the half crosses in the background, but then this is full crosses in the top of the cross there, which is really fun. So that's my plan for making that one go a little bit faster. Okay, next we have Her Journey by Megan Walsh, charted by Blushing Pink Stitches. This I think was a new start this year too. And it's, oh, she's gonna cry outside the door now. We just have to ignore her, I guess. She's not happy no matter what I do. This is a big one, so I did it on 40 count as well. Not a lot started because it's very new. I think I was gonna start in the on the far side and do it vertically, but I decided I didn't like it. So I'm now moving across the top towards the other side that I usually start on. So this is 40 count. I think this is I just say linen. I don't know if this is French lace. I don't think this is French lace. I don't know what color this is. But it's 40 count linen, 1/1 half cross. So that's my start on that one. Oh, that's on Silver Moon. 40 count. I wrote it down on my paper, but not on my spreadsheet, apparently. So that's the same color as Delightful Waltz. Then we have Hibiscus Fairy by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Meredith Dillman. This is one of my favorites. And this is on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco by Charles Craft, 1/1 full cross. I felt like this is a good stiffer fabric for a half cross, but I liked the thought of a full cross with this project. So, because it is a little more illustrated looking. Same with the next one, also done on the same fabric and done with a full cross. This is Hidden Harbor, color expansion, art by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Andy Russell. So colorful. I love these ones that have bright colors. That's just very me. And I did do a little bit on this already yesterday because of it's in some of my temperature stitching plans. So this is a 1/1 full cross on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco as well. So that's a fun one. Can't wait to get more into that. But every thread is a joy because of the colors that they are. Really fun. Next we have La Soirée by Golden Kite. And I'm cropping off a whole row of pages off the top and off the side just to save time. I didn't need it. There's enough wallpaper without that. This is also 24 count Congress cloth. And some of these colors are a little paler, so I'll go ahead and put that back there. It's a 2/1 half cross. So you can see the start of the wallpaper here and then the start of the first girl's head. I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I have to put some of that in, but I still have more wallpaper to fill in here before I get too far into it. So yeah. Okay, then we have Minnie the Library, Max Colors by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork by Auguste Toulamouche, maybe. This is a fun one. This is a 28 count rose Monaco, 2/1 half cross. You can already see the bones coming in of the bookshelf there, which is really fun. So I like that one. And I've seen Rainy Day Reads. She started smack in the middle with the girl, and it's looking great. So I'm excited to get down there too. Next we have Lollipop by Tilton Crafts, artwork by Denise Garbus. And this is a really fun one too. Lots of pretty colors. I'm doing this on 40 count Verdal in white, 1/1 half cross. This is for my daughter. So this one in Bear Time Stories, I would like to get finished by their high school graduation dates. So got to keep making regular progress on these ones. And hopefully this coming year, I'll give them even more time. So that's my plan, to help them progress even quicker. Then we have The Love Letter by Golden Kite. This is a fun one. I love her blue dress. This is a 24 count linen or even weave. It's a 2/1 half cross. There are blends in this one. Most Golden Kites have blends. The top few pages finished when I was doing parking, and now I'm stitching in my parked threads because I don't want to do it anymore. So they've ended up all over the place using up those colors, but I love the feather realism there. It's pretty fun. This one will probably it should still get a little bit of attention later this year. I haven't done anything yet this year on this one, but it's part of a challenge, so I should get at least a little bit of time on it. Then we have Magic of Christmas by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Nadia Strokina. Something like that. This is so pretty. It's giant, but there's really nothing I want to crop off because we've got kitty cat, Christmas tree, pretty winter scene. It's all pretty important. So because it's so big, I am stitching this on 40 count. This is 40 count French lace, the same fabric that Grand Library Romance is on. 1/1 half cross. So you can see the start of the icicles there in the winter scene, which is pretty fun. And this is rather stiff. It's Witchelt Ada, or Witchelt linen, which is actually really nice for half cross full coverage. But in order to keep my hands from not having to hold the roll together, because if I let it go, to rethread my needle, it'll just spin out and lose the roll, and I'll have to keep re-rolling. So I have these thread peels on there to kind of keep the roll in place while I'm stitching. So that's a trick I use with like Kit Aida before it's softened up, or really stiff Witchet linen, things like that. Most things, the fabric pretty quickly kind of learns to stay in the roll and it's not a problem, but some stubborn fabrics, I use those thread peels. So next we have The Nativity by Donna Gelsinger, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the regular size. There's also a mini that I think has pretty good detail, but when I bought this, the mini was not available yet, and I saw it, I'm like, oh, I need to do that. If I have fabric in my closet right now, I can buy it. I had fabric in my closet, so I went ahead and got it. This is 28 count Monaco, or yeah, Charles Craft Monaco from the craft store, 2/1 half cross. And yeah, so I started out, the first page is done. You can see the detail in the palm tree, the start of the wise man, because I was using up parked threads, and now I'm doing typewriter across the top, picking symbols. You can see the start of another palm tree because the sky colors are kind of arching like that. So there's making room for more tree colors, which is kind of fun. Next is Golden Kite, Norwegian Ship Under Sail. I don't think I've worked on this yet this year, but I'm not sure if I did something since the WIP parade. This is a 25 count linen / even weave, 2/1 half cross. It's the same fabric that Love Letter is on. I bought a big piece of it and started both of these on that. And again, I was doing parking at the beginning and then filled in my parked threads. And then I did, at some point, hop, skipped, and jumped all the way across the edge for a challenge I was working on to start a bunch of pages. And now I can do the, typewriter, filling it in along here and bringing it down. Just a tiny bit of the boat has been started, the ship. Next, we have Quick Stitch Patchwork Quilt Room by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Ciro Marchetti. And it's already a crop or a quick stitch of a bigger piece of artwork, but I am cropping it even more to just do the part on the table there with the kitty cat, the sewing stuff in the quilt, and the tea set, because that's my favorite. So I'm just doing that part. This is a 40 count Verdal, and it's so tiny. 40 count Verdal, 1/1 half cross. And also I worked on this since my video on Monday, so you're getting a sneak peek on a little bit of extra stuff. So you can already see this is a curtain, start of a butterfly, some bushes. This is a pot of flowers, some wood paneling getting started there, and then the next chunk of background greenery. So it's so fun to kind of see stuff come to life already. So next, we have Mini Princess of the Sea by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Donna Gelsinger. And this is a very, very pretty one. I like the little girl, reminds me of my daughter. And this is where I'm at with this one. It's a 28 count Dove Gray Monaco, 2/1 half cross. And I've kind of worked all over. I was working down, came over, did some of the girl, and then worked across the top. So now I'm trying to fill all the sky in before I go too far down. But yeah, that's fun. This is another one that, like, every length of floss is just fun to work on. The sky is super colorful. It's more pastel-y, but they're fun shades, like very spring colors. Then we have Princess de Broly by Golden Kite. This is one that was my first Golden Kite, and it was being retired. And then when it came out again, like re-released a few years later, and then when Pattern Keeper came out and I went through and got all my current patterns in the digital versions, the version they gave me was different because it was from the re-release, not the original. So it was kind of very different than like in color scheme and placement and everything. So I couldn't really match them up. And my other one was an 18 count, which was giant. So this is a good opportunity to restart. So this is now on 28 count. I say mushroom, but it's awfully dark. I think it's like a MCG Textiles mushroom, not a Lugana mushroom. 2/1 half cross. So it should go a little faster now, although I haven't worked on it as much. My other one had pretty much her whole face done and a lot of her hair, but there was a lot more background. I'm cropping some background off, and so she looks a little weird, but I know from experience, having stitched her face before, even though it looks yellow with green hair, when it's all in, it looks fine. It looks good. So I just need to keep working on it. And I'm trying to do a little background, a little face, a little background, a little face whenever I pull this out so that I can have, you know, get some of both put in and worked on. Next we have Rainbow Princess by Stitch Witch Cat, and this is a really pretty one. Love all the colors in that one. I'm stitching this on a this is a 25 count full cross too, because I felt like I needed another one. This is a khaki linen, khaki even weave, sorry. 25 count full cross, 1/1. And just a little bit there in the corner. A long way to go, but it's a fun piece. Very happy colors, so I need to get back to this one. I don't know that I've done anything on this in a little while. But I do plan to work. I think going forward, I would always like to work on everything at least once in a calendar year. So that'll be my ongoing goal, I think. Here is Ranunculus by Cooler Design Studio, designed by Nancy Rossi. And this is a really fun one. It's very bright and colorful. This is a 24 count Congress cloth, 2/1 half stitch. These are blocks of color, so it goes nice and quick. And I have a lot of fun with this one. Pull this one out every month as well because it's a gift stitch, so I'm making good progress on that one. Then we have Spring Montage by Pain Free Crafts, artwork by Janet Stever. This is also on a 25 count mushroom Lugana, 28 count, sorry, 1/1 full cross. And it's been fun to you know, get to see those flowers coming out, which is very, very pretty. I don't get a lot of time on these because I usually only give them a few days. This year I've been doing seasonal Sundays, and so they'll get like a little bit of time on the Sundays in 1 month. But sometimes Sunday is busy or filled with other things in the week I'm trying to finish. So they don't always get a ton of time, but it's still progress. This is a Tilton Crafts. It's called Stained Glass Birds 1, but I call it Stained Glass Cardinal. And it's very colorful. I like it. So far, just black. Well, maybe, did I add anything else? I did. I added another color. So this is 28 count natural linen. Just kidding. This is 40 count, sorry. 40 count natural linen, 1/1 half cross. And I started some black and then some dark purple. I don't know if you can really see in there. Because I figured, at first I thought maybe I'll do all the black and then fill it in, like color it in essentially, but then I'm like, nah, I want to fill it in as I go. So, and I think I'm cropping a little bit off the sides. So there's like extra black on the sides, but not the tops and bottoms. So I'm taking off the side black because I don't got time for that. So I'm not doing it. Then we have Stitcher's Retreat by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork by Delphin Angelus. This is was a freebie on their website. It's no longer there. I'm cropping off lots around the edges. There's a lot more background than I cared to do. This is on a 28 count rose Monaco, 2/1 half cross. And I'm kind of filling in wherever I feel like it, sometimes in the background, sometimes in the people and the, you know, things to just make it more interesting. I think the last time I worked on it was in the background because it's got to get done. There is some background in this, so. And we have a stitching shelf, max colors, but regular sized, artwork by Amy Stewart. And charted by Heaven and Art Designs. I don't know if I said that. This is a tea-dyed Monaco 28 count, and I have stitched all over the place on this one. So it's got a lot more stitched area than a lot of my other ones. So I'll do like a before and an after. And hopefully that's all in the frame because I can't see. You've got spring, which I've done a little bit on most of these. I don't think this is summer. I don't know that I think autumn is still coming up, so I may not have a whole lot more on that one yet. And then I did a little bit on winter earlier in the year. So this one, at one point way back when, I took the time to go through and do, you know, books and shelving in different places so that I could have some structure. No one color is finished, so it's not like I'm color completing. I was just picking symbols that kept going in a obvious direction so that I could count short little bits of counting and connect everything so that I could stitch wherever I wanted to, which is really fun. Then we have Summer Montage by Pain Free Crafts, artwork by Janet Stever. And here's my progress on this one. This is also 28 count. Mushroom Lugana, 1/1 full cross. All the montages are 1/1 full cross. Working in the rows. It's very fun. I like seeing the pictures just come alive and develop. Then we have Sunny Birds, artwork by Oleg Gavrilov, charted by Heaven and Art Designs. Max Colors version. I like how the colors flow better when there's more colors to work with. This one is on a 40 count cream linen, and it's 1/1 half cross because this is a large design, so it won't be so big on 40 count over 1. I have a lot of the sky done. Some of the bushes here like touched into the 10 by 10 block along the top, so they got their strands filled in. Now I'm continuing to work across the sky, so that's fun. This needs to come out more too. I love the colors in. I'm drawn to things with lots of fun colors, so. Which was probably pretty obvious from everything that I've been showing you. We have Three Sisters by Golden Kite. And this one represents me and my sisters. This is me. And that's the only one I've got progress on so far. This is a big one because it's one of the earlier ones I started on 18 count. So here is this one. It's an 18 count white Ada, 2/1 full cross. And there are blends. So back then, that's the only smallest I felt like I could go with 2 strands until I discovered the half cross, and then I could go down to 28 and 25. So I did a lot of experimenting back in those days. So I have some of the background filled in, lots of confetti in the background, and then I work in the girl's face a lot too. So pick one color. Her face is over multiple pages, so it's really nice now in Pattern Keeper to be able to pick a symbol and just see wherever it goes in the face. And not have to flip back and forth between 6 or 7 or 8 different pages. Then we have Waterfall in Yosemite by Golden Kite. I worked on this not that long ago, last week. This is also one of the earlier ones, so it's on 18 count. This is an antique white Aida, I believe. 2/1 full cross. Again, there's lots of blends in these, and I think all the sky is done, and I'm now picking symbols right around here and filling in the rock. But once some of these symbols are filled in, I'll be able to go across and start picking these symbols too, and filling in some of that, which will be fun. That's why I like that typewriter method too, is not only do you get a chance to start filling in the design, which cross-country can sometimes avoid completely filling in the design because you're avoiding those little onesies and twosies stitches that are just like, well, I don't want to thread my needle for that. But when you do want to fill in the whole block, get all the symbols stitched before you move on, then you're forced to do those little ones as you go, and it breaks it up and it's not so bad to do. You don't have to do them all at once. And you let that decide for you to, okay, now it's time to do it. Eat your vegetables. But then also with working across the whole design, sometimes you get to kind of experience different parts of the pattern along the way and not get stuck only in one section, which is also fun. So that's another reason why I like that. Then we have Winter Montage by Janet Stever, chartered by Pain Free Crafts. Again, these montages are discontinued now from Pain Free Crafts. There are some non-full coverage versions put out by, I think, Janlin, but they are different. They have background showing, and there's backstitching and different things. They're a lot smaller, but they're the same artwork, just charted a lot differently. So this is a 1/1 full cross. This is on a white Lugana, not the mushroom, because I was waiting on my mushroom fabric to come in the mail, and I just wanted to start it because everyone else was starting it. So I just grabbed some white that I had and started it, and I ended up liking it better than the mushroom. But since I bought the mushroom, I went ahead and used the mushroom. So now I'm going to start some more Janet Stever projects next month. I'm gonna do them on white because I really prefer how all the extra tan stitches pop off of this white. It makes it a lot easier to see, and those border colors and things like that. So white is not all bad. And then last but not least, the Young Gardener. This is charted by Art of Stitching, and I won this in a monthly giveaway they had ages ago. I don't even know if they do that anymore. And this is another one that was an early 40 count Verdal choice. I don't know if I've worked on this recently, but it's 1/1 half cross. I originally started this on a 32 count 1/1 half cross. I didn't like the coverage. It was not, it was too spotty, especially in the dark colors. So once I discovered 40 count Verdal, which was not a thing yet when I started this one, once that started being produced, I was like, ooh, I like it. This is great. So I started this one, and Simpsons and Mini Birdsong, all of those. So I was on a roll. All right, so that's all the filming I think I have time for today, but hopefully I'll come back tomorrow, film some more chunks with the other sections I have. So with that, I'll see you later. Hi, I'm back. It's now Thursday, September 18th, 2025, for some more categories of my WIP parade. Smokey is again here with me today. This category is the full coverage, no background category. I started to have enough of these and I put them in their own category. It's where they're designed originally to be a full coverage, or they're designed by a full coverage company, so they have that same level of detail, but they have no background, either no background charted, or I've personally removed the background so I can use pretty fabric instead of the charted background and have less to stitch. So there's 9 of these. I just started one, so last year I believe there were 8. Now there's 9. This first one is Butterfly by Heaven and Earth Designs. I call it Butterfly Cat because clearly artwork by Kuromi Harai. And this is the Max Colors version. It's quite large, but I think it's going to be so cute. I don't know if I've worked on this yet this year, but this is on a 28 count cashel linen, I guess, by Picture This Plus in the color Nessie. And it's 1/1 full cross. And I think it's probably the same because I remember last time pointing out that there are some stitches that come all the way down here. But I am picking symbols from the top and then working them in. So it's the kitty's ear. And hopefully I'll make more progress on that before I come back next time. Because this is a very pretty one. I like this. And it's going to be pretty on this fabric because I thought this fabric complemented the greens in the stem of the flower that she's holding. And then another Heaven and Earth Designs. This is Mini Butterfly Rose Cross by Bridget Ashwood. And Bridget Ashwood is no longer at Heaven and Earth Designs, so I don't know if this particular one is over on, I think, Pain Free Crafts has her artwork now, but this is the one I have, and I took the background out myself, and I'm stitching it on a 28 count even weave. It was a hand dyeing duo, and it's not named, but that's really pretty, nice aqua, and that's how far I got. And see, it's so fun. You can like do a lot more because you're not worrying about the background. So you just keep going with the fun stuff. And a lot of these, it takes out over half the design when you mark off all the background and that it's done. So that's fun. The next one is an Artisy pattern, Cherry Kitten. This one was charted by them with no background. Sometimes I like how they do it and sometimes I don't. Sometimes they don't do it, so I am forced to do it myself if I want to. So this one, they had a nice version for no background. There's another version with like clouds in the sky, which is also pretty, but I was given this pattern, or this fabric, I mean, Pole Stitches Dragon Shades in Cosmos that looked like clouds. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Let's go ahead and put this kitty on there. And this is a 28 count as well, even weave Jobelin, 1/1 full cross. Pretty much almost all of these. A couple of them that are really tiny or not, but most of these are 1/1 full crosses because when you don't have the background, I want to make sure the edges are nice and right, crisp with the full crosses. So half stitch doesn't necessarily work that well when you take the background out of something. However, there is the exception. There's a couple of these that are really tiny, 40 count over 1 half stitches. And so since it's so small, I don't think it's going to matter anyways. So those are still half stitches. Here is A Crazy Wonderful Owl Family by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Anya Kai. This one was again charted with no background, so I didn't have to do it myself. It was a version. They do have the version with the background as well. But I didn't want to stitch all that blue, so I got a nice fabric. This is 28 count Glacier by Picture This Plus. And I've been working on this recently. So here it is. Yay! It's so cute. I'm starting to work on Mama Owl, and I got some work done on Pop Owl since I've seen you last September. So this is again 28 count 1/1 full cross. So fun. And that one should continue to see progress. It went through some time here where I didn't get really any work on it, but I've now plugged it into a nice challenge to go along with the football season. So I think it should get consistent work every fall because I really like the opportunity to work on it more regularly. So I think I'll keep that up. Then we have Cupcake Dreams by Tilton Crafts. And this was a former freebie. They have this now as this particular cupcake is part of a larger design with lots of cupcakes that you could buy. And this one I'm hoping I can finish before the end of the calendar year. So we'll see. This is on a mint green Jubilee 28 count, 1/1 full cross. I've been making progress. It's still got some ways to go. A lot of it in the cake wrapper, but there's still some in this strawberry, a little bit in the frosting, a little bit up here. So there is still a little bit to go. Hopefully I can get that knocked out here at the end of the year. It's one of the ones that I have on my radar to finish. Then we have Harmony. This also was a freebie on Heaven and Earth Designs. I don't know if it's still there. Artwork by Ching Chao Kyuk. And I like this background, but I found a fabric that's a nice model, slightly modeled, bright green. And I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect. It's Holiday Mint by Color and Cotton, and it's a 28 count. So it was meant to be a no background choice of fabric. So isn't that fun? Very tropical. So here is this one. I have done a little bit more work on this one since last time, I believe. 1/1 full cross. And you can start to see some of the eyeball area and the indent for the beak. So yay, that's pretty fun. There's Smokey. Then we have my new one that I will work on again today. I worked on it a little bit yesterday even. So you'll see some progress beyond what I showed in my update video. Mini Hummingbird in Roses by Heaven and Earth Designs. I think they have a version with the background removed, but I got this one and I did it myself. I'm doing it on Wild Bouquet by Be Stitch Me in a 25 count. And it's a super fun fabric as well, which is the best use of these fun fabrics really, is to do a no background. It's a little greener up here. It's yellow and green, purple. It's so fun. So here is this one, and it was a new start this year for my birthday, this month really. And I did a little bit more since my update video. 1/1 full cross on the 25 count. And that's the start of the top bud, a little bit of the first flower over here, and then the head of the hummingbird and the beak. So hopefully I can get some more progress here in the month of September, or here at the end of September with I'm using it for some bonus stitching for the temperatures. So it came out yesterday and it's going to come out again today. So that's fun. Looking forward to that. Next I have Simpsons, which is one of the ones, these last two actually are the two that are half cross because they're on 40 count Verdal. So it's so tiny, it doesn't really notice too much that it's half crosses. Sometimes in the edges, in the lines, you know, it's like, you can kind of tell it's a half cross. It's not as full of a shape, but it's fine. It helps it go faster. So this one I've been doing for my husband, so hopefully it will be done in the next couple years for his birthday. 40 count Verdal in white, 1/1 half cross. And I've gotten quite a bit done, I think, because I am working on this. I was working on this periodically for temperature stitching. I have more to fill in these like paper sections here, and then like some of the clothes and, you know, skin there. So there's a few more bits to fill in, but like up here is pretty much done, which is cool. This was an eBay pattern from years ago that's not there anymore. So, and then the last stitch, full coverage, no background, is TN Books. And I originally had this one from Heaven and Earth Designs, and I'm restarting it for a pain-free crafts version. I like that it's lighter in the books and teacup and everything, so you can see a little bit more color and definition in the letters and different things. So I'm still taking the background out though. So this is still in progress of a transition piece. This is 40 count Days Gone By from Silk Weaver, 1/1 full cross. And just recently I worked on this for one day, and I put a little bit more work into the rim of the teacup and frogged the handle that was still from the old version. The butterfly is also still from the old version, so that will go away. Hopefully before you see this again next September, that butterfly will be gone, and hopefully there'll be a little more progress, forward progress of the new version. This steam is still from the old version, and I figured it's fine, that can stay. So yeah, those are my 9 full coverage, no background pieces. And I will regroup and bring up my next category. Hopefully I can get another 1 or 2 categories today. So I'll be back. Okay, we're back with the other category. This is just kind of everything miscellaneous that doesn't fall into a different category. And Smokey's gonna try to eat my things again. The last category will be samplers, and then I'll do finishes at the end. I play kind of fast and loose with the term sampler because I don't stitch reproduction samplers, which some people consider like quintessential samplers. I don't usually stitch those. But so I kind of consider the sampler category as anything that has the word sampler in the title or is a bunch of small elements put together. So everything that doesn't fit that criteria is in this other category. So there's 19 of these. First one is Antique Shoe Collection. This is a Bucilla kit from 2000. Probably started in 2000. So it's 25 years old. I've been stitching this for 25 years. It's not done yet. But I am making progress here and there, chipping away. This is on a 14 count Kit Ada by, I think it's Antique White. 2/1, full cross. And it's been fun. Lots of pretty colors. I am hoping that next time this comes out, I will, or maybe next year, I'll pick up the PDF from the Cooler Design Studio, and then it will be in Pattern Keeper, and then I can play more games with it, and then maybe it'll get done faster. That's my plan. So it would be nice to kind of chip away at some of these and actually finish them occasionally. So here's one that is probably not, it's newer, so I don't think you saw it last year, called Autumn Calico Cat by Vivsters. And this is a really pretty one. It's on a navy fabric. You don't stitch all of the background. So this is on a navy 25 count, 1/1 full cross. And it's really fun how the colors play off of the navy fabric. It's definitely different, but not unwelcome. It's nice. Picking symbols from the top down. You can see the flowers starting and the kitty starting. So that's a fun one. Then we have another one that I started last year. I don't know if I would have showed it because it was started at the beginning of September last year. This is Bees on a Flower by Ina Bedenko. I got this on mybobbin.com. So there's some, you know, backstitching elements that will be added to this eventually, but and I will hopefully work on it here this month, but it hasn't come out yet in my game that I'm playing with for the temperatures. So here's this one. It's a 28 count Berkshire Hive even weave by Fabric Flare. If you look really closely, you can see a honeycomb pattern. It's very faint. So I thought that'd be kind of fun to do this on. It's 2/2 full cross for the cross stitches. And then there's some half stitches here in the background. There will be back stitching of various thicknesses. So I went ahead and did it over 2 because then you know you can get all the layers properly if you're doing one of these kits that's got all the different full cross, half cross, back stitching in 1 strand, 2 strands, things like that. Let's see. Then I have Blackwork Flower with Butterflies by Leslie Tier. This is another one I really hope to finish this year. It's getting close. It's on my WIP Go board one more time, I think. So hopefully that'll be all I need to get it done. I am stitching it with black and then just my own fancy flosses pulled from stash that are similar to what's called for. This is on a light blue even weave 28 count from, I think, the Artiste brand at Hobby Lobby. Cross stitches are 2/2. And the black work and back stitching is all as, you know, as called for. 1 strand, 3 strands, 2 strands, a little bit of French knots. There's some gold sparkle in the borders. So it's pretty fun. The butterflies are backstitched or cross-stitched with backstitch decorations, and then the flower is mostly a few cross stitches with lots of black work fill in to create the patterns, which is really fun. So I have like some leaves and swirls and this butterfly to finish and the border. So there's not too much left. So hopefully I can get this one done this year. I have put some effort into it earlier in the year when it came up on WIP Go, so I'm hoping that it can get finished this year. That'd be great. Then we have Chaplin's Garden, which is an old Jan and Lynn kit as well. Does this have a date on? Ooh, 99. Possibly. I started this in 99. I know it was, my mom gave this to me along with a frame that would complement it, and it's still not done yet. She got it because it had all sorts of colors, lots and lots of colors, which is true. I like things with lots and lots of colors. But at the time, I didn't have a good way of tackling a project with lots of confetti, which is different than lots of colors. It's sometimes the same, sometimes different. This one was a little daunting. But now I'm at least marking my stitches off, and that will help. Maybe eventually I'll take the time to painstakingly put this into Pattern Keeper. That will make it go even faster, but that will take a long time. So we'll see if it's worth it, or if I just want to keep marking it off, highlighting where I've been. So this is 14 count light blue Ada from the kit. And I started in the middle way back when, 25 years ago, and now I'm kind of picking away at the top to work from the top down. This one may come out as well because I'm playing, this is part of the cross stitch baking game that I'm doing with all of my oldest projects. So there's a few of them in here that are part of that. Then we have Colors of the Seasons 2, which is another one that would be really nice to finish this year, by Serenita de Campagna. I found this on 123 Stitch, so it's easy to find. This is on a 27 count vintage country mocha. And it's coming along. It's a 2/2 full cross because there were fractionals and backstitching, so I went ahead and did not do it over one like I might normally with something this cutesy. I don't remember what, I think I already had autumn done, probably also winter done. I know I finished summer this year, and now I'm working on spring. So I think I should be able to get this done when it comes out again on WIP Go. That would be so great. Get a few more finishes here at the end of the year. That's kind of my hope. Then we have Fairy Tale Town. Which is a kit by Abris Art. And it's really long and skinny, pretty giant. Originally it's supposed to be done on 14 count, but I am not. I'm doing it 28 count over one. So I have to get a little creative with the backstitching. This does have a few different layered aspects as well, because it's, I believe, a Ukrainian company. There's some half stitches in the background, there's some backstitching and various widths. But some of the things I'm gonna do using Gutermann silk sewing thread to make it finer than DMC, so I'm hoping that will be enough to kind of help balance the ratio of some of those details. So this is where it's at now. 1/1 full cross for most of it, and then like this bit here in the background is a 1/1 half stitch. And so, oh, I think I might have some right down. This is the bottom. Yeah, so that's fun. This is a light blue, I think ice blue Lugana. That'd be fun to get into a little bit more. Fall Floral Cross by Cooler Design Studio. I have, this is the first one alphabetically to come up, but I have all the other ones as kits that I received over the years as gifts. This was the last one I received because, and it was given me a physical paper pattern from Everything Cross Stitch because all the kits were sold out and out of print. So no one was getting it for me because it wasn't around. So I'm like, well, let's look and see if I can find this anywhere else. And I had it over there. So I got that version. Well, recently I realized they now have PDFs on the Cooler Design Studio website that are compatible with Pattern Keeper. So I just picked this one up. This is the only one I have that PDF so far because it's the one I'm currently working on here in the month of September. And I am so excited to have this in Pattern Keeper. So I know this past week I worked a little bit these reds and green and oranges. So I'm hoping this can see some nice progress here in September. And this is a 14 count Fiddler's Ada. 2/1 full crosses for the main bulk of the stitching. Then we have Fantasy Triptych, which is another one in my set of old projects that I'm hopefully going to work on with the baking game that I'm doing, by Teresa Wentzler. This was originally started by my sister-in-law, and I picked it up to, she was done with it. She didn't want to keep going, and like, oh, I'll finish that for you. So here's this one. This is a 25 count antique white Lugana, probably even weave of some kind, and 2/2 full cross or 1/1. The faces are charted to be 1/1. I haven't backstitched her face yet because you need a sewing needle, a very fine, because they have you piercing the even weave. So I haven't done that yet. But I'm hoping to maybe do border up here at the top when this gets called for the baking game here during the fall. And again, this one is Everything Cross Stitch has a PDF of a lot of Teresa Wentzler's patterns now. An actual PDF, not the PDF like Patterns Online is where Teresa Wentzler used to have a lot of her patterns, which had their own files that needed a special viewer, but Everything Cross Stitch has actual PDFs. So I heard from a commenter that they go into Pattern Keeper pretty well. You have to enter the numbers yourself when you, all the DMC floss when you first do it, which is not bad. There's a few versions of patterns I've had to do that with. It's a one-time thing, not a problem. So I'm hoping that will be compatible. And then I know there's specialty stitches and different things that won't be in there, but at least the full crosses in the areas of confetti with the trees and the castle, that'll be so nice to have in Pattern Keeper to follow the path. Because there's so many times on a Teresa Wentzler where I think I finished all the symbols of a particular color in an area, tie off my blend probably and put it all away and then realize I missed some because it's just so like mixed together, all the symbols, and it's like, it's really hard. It's really hard to see. So if you have it in Pattern Keeper, it'll highlight, in Pattern Keeper, we'll highlight all of them, and so it's harder to miss, which is really great. So I'm going to test that hopefully soon. The next one is Finery of Nature. This is a Dimensions Gold kit, and I have heard that maybe you can email Dimensions to get Pattern Keeper versions of these. So I have a couple Dimensions kits that in here that I might try emailing them and seeing if I can get a PDF, because that would be fantastic. This is on all the kit stuff. Black Ada, 14 count. And that's where I got to. 2/1. I think some of the lighter colors, they recommend 3/1, and I said, no, thank you. I can do the loop start with all of them and just do 2 strands, and it's okay. It'll be a little bit lighter coverage with the white and the light, like ecru on black, but that's okay. Added a little bit of the sparkle there in this corner, so that's fun. It's still on my needle, that they're crazy kit metallic. I'm trying it. Okay, now we have Flower Teapot by Soda Stitch. And this is one I'm stitching with my friend Desiree whenever we work on it together. She's currently working on another project right now, monogamously, so I haven't worked on this in a while, and I won't work on it again until we work on it together. But it's really pretty. I'm up here in this pot right now because I started at the top. And this was the perfect color. What is this? 32 count Tiki Oasis linen. Oh yeah, that's right. This is from Fiber Arts Amy's shop. Oh, what's it called? Oak Crown Studios. This is one of her fabrics. And it's 2x2 full cross with some backstitching already added into the pot there. The corner motifs are done, and then I'm working on the teapot. Super fun. I try to do as much as I can, like to fill in an area, and then I'll add some backstitch so I can do it as I go, and it just brings it to life. Sew to Stitch's backstitching is pretty fun. It's all black, it's all one strand, and it's not exhaustive. You know, it's not over every stitch. It's just hints here and there to kind of, it's a really fun look, and it's not overwhelming. Here's my other dimensions gold gracious era. And this is another one to be really kind of nice to have it in Pattern Keeper. This has a lot of half stitches in the background in the buildings, but I think in Pattern Keeper you can like make it look like a blend, and then the second color you can just say half or something, and then have a note in your key there that, oh, this is a half stitch. So that's something I've done with some patterns, which makes it helpful. This is on a 16 count Dove Gray. Yeah, Dove Gray Ada that came in the kit. Started in the middle and then worked my way up to the corner, and I'm working things as charted, mostly 2/1, but then there's a lot of half stitches, like I said. Some fuzz there. So I think I have all of this filled in, and then I'm picking symbols here in the background now. So there's that one. I love the ladies in the dresses in the front. That's probably my favorite part. There's a lot of other pattern to do besides that. But then we have In the Beginning, which is, I believe, a dimensions kit from way long ago. And I got this from my first college roommate's aunt. Kitted it up myself. So this is one of my oldest WIPs. Started in 1999. I think the kit's older than that because she had just had it in her stash already, and I started it in 99. So this is an 18 count antique white Ada, and I am currently going through the process of stitch by stitch adding this to my charting software so that I can use it in Pattern Keeper. So I'm excited to have that go faster. But all of these motifs are all done already, including their backstitching. So I need to do, like the stars and moon are finally done, but now I'm working on the peacock. And so from here all the way around the bottom, and then the middle is all yet to be finished. So, but this is one that may come out soon here in my baking game as well, because it's one of the oldest projects I have. Let's Get Spooky. This is a newer one that I picked up at a retreat a few years ago, but I started it. When did I start this? In October of last year, so I don't think you've seen this yet. It's an Ursula Michael, and I have a fun fabric that I've also picked up at that retreat, and using fancy flosses from my stash, because why not? It's a good opportunity to use them. This is a 32 count Sleigh Bells Lugana by, I think this is a Live and Die LA fabric, and it's really fun. It's sleigh bells, but it also works for Halloween. So 2/2 full cross, and then 1 strand backstitching. Got the hat done and the kitty face, so I got all the rest to do. But this is one that could go pretty quickly if I just spent time on it. So maybe next year I can focus on getting that one done. It'll probably come out at least for a day here in October of this year. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Then we have Spring Floral Cross, the next one in the series. This is the original Janlin kit, using all the kit stuff. But eventually I will want to pick up the, here it is. Eventually I want to pick up the PDF of these last 3 as well. This is how I've gotten to on this one. This is a light blue 14 count Aida. All of the kit ones came with a different color Aida. So then when I kitted up the fall one, I went ahead and got that Fiddler's Aida, even though I think it called for white, but the winter one was on, no, the spring one, this is spring. The summer one was on white from the kit. So I'm like, I need something different. So I went with that Fiddler's Aida. I've got the little bee done. He's so cute. And a lot of this top part has been finished and backstitched. A lot of the words have been added. So I did a good amount on this year. These were in timeout for a little while. And then this year I brought them back out because I was ready to work on them again. And now that I'm finding them in Pattern Keeper, it's going to be even more fun to work on them again. So the next one is right here, Summer Floral Cross. This is the one that's on white. And also all the kit stuff. This one has a little less done on it. Also 14 count, white, very stiff Aida. But I'm, you know, picking things out here to do. Started in on the butterfly. I must not have had a lot of time when I was working on this one, because there's still not a lot there. It's very stiff Aida. Maybe, hopefully the more I work on that, it'll soften up some. I have another Soda Stitch here, the Time for Myself. And I worked on this a little bit recently too, so this is a fun one. I'm doing this on 32 count Whisper linen, which is a nice soft, like a grayish tan. And it's really pretty. 2/2 full cross on 32 count with the one strand of Soda Stitch backstitching, which is really nice. Which this part has been backstitched. And then her face as well has been backstitched. It's so pretty. This one, I picked up the PDF on their Soda Stitch's Etsy shop recently. It was on sale, and I said, sure. I think it was only like $5 or $6. So now this one's in Pattern Keeper now too. I'm happy with that. Tulip House is another like Russian, Ukrainian designer. That's their name. But you can find them on Cross Stitch Patterns. And actually it's 1T Cross Stitch Patterns on Etsy. And they have another one too that's got like a castle in the middle and some flowers. This one was a little more colorful, so I went with this one. But they're both very, very pretty. This is a 32 count ice blue linen. I say Lugana, but it's definitely a linen. I need to update that. And that's my starting point, or not starting point. That I got this guy all done, that tulip, and a lot done on the house, the sky. And the house is started. I think I'm again started in the middle and worked up just to make sure it was centered on my fabric. But I'm picking symbols from the top down. So this one I love. I would like to work on this again. This was almost going to come out for my birthday temperature stitching this month, but I ended up only choosing 5 projects instead of 10, and so that one didn't make the cut. But last but not least is my Winter Floral Cross by Janlin and Cooler Design Studio. This one was kitted up with a light green Aida, which is pretty. And again, all of these, I started in the middle and worked my way to the top to work from the top down. So they've all got like splotchy nothings in the middle and then more specific things on the top. So I have more of the background words. I have this started to be backstitched in that holly, so that's fun. Yeah, so that is my other category. I might have time to film one more category today, which would be great, and then I'll do my finishes tomorrow. I'm hopefully going to finish my travel stitch today. That would be fantastic. So, yeah. All right, let's go transition to the next category. All right, Smokey and I are back For the last category of WIPs, I will do my finishes last this time, so they'll be tomorrow. I'll film those tomorrow. But this category is the sampler category. There are 15 in this category, which, as I mentioned at the beginning of the last category, is a little loose of a definition of sampler. So if the word sampler is in the title, it counts. If it's a bunch of small motifs, it counts. So let's roll with it. So first off, we have Beachcomber by Lindy Stitches. This is an example of a lot of little motifs. And I've been working on this pretty consistently this year because it's a gift. Here is where this one's at now. It's 1/1, well, just kidding, 1/2 on 40 count raw linen. And it's using my fancy floss from my stash. That's similar to what it's called for. And that's been really fun to work on. So the top chunk is all done. So I'm working on the middle chunk, and then there's all the bits and bobs at the bottom as well. So that's pretty fun. I'm personalizing it a little bit. But most of it will be just as charted. Then we have Books of the Bible. This one is by My Big Toe Designs. It doesn't have an alphabet, but it does have lots of words and lots of little motifs. So this is a fun one. I'm stitching this with the called for silks, but I'm switched out the fabric to something that might be close to what they called for, only mine's tiny. So this is a 25 count Bee Stitch Me Lugana in Through the Stones, and it's 1/1 full cross. And I've gotten almost to a third of the way done. So when this line is done, that's the first page, and there's 3 pages. So it's coming along. I just chip away at this a little bit every Sunday. This might become my travel piece next year, because I'll probably also do a temperature piece next year, and I think that will probably be a travel piece. So next we have Cross Stitch Fun, which is another one that's a bunch of little motifs, so that counts for me for a sampler. This is by Kesslins, and this is my only monochromatic piece at the moment, although I will be starting another one tomorrow. So it's currently not in my WIPs because it's not a WIP yet. Where is this one? This is on a 28 count Star Sapphire Jobelin with Coastal Seaweed floss from Victorian Motto. And this is a really fun one. Maybe I'll do up and down before and after, because it's still pretty horizontal. It's a really fun, soothing stitch. It's a 1/1 full cross. And I don't have to worry about where the color is changing because it's pretty subtle anyways. And I'm picking, instead of filling blocks in 10 by 10 rows like I do a lot of times, I'm picking motifs. So if a motif hits at the next 10 by 10 square, I'll do the whole motif. So that's why this one comes all the way down here, because it's the whole motif. So next, I'll pick, and then if I hit some border that hasn't been done yet, I'll do one length of floss in the border and just kind of work it down like that. So that's my plan on that one. That's fun to do. Now we have Teresa Wensler's English Garden Sampler, hence it's in the sampler category. I'm taking out this scene. I'm not interested in all that confetti, but I like this alphabets and the gate with the peacock and all of that. So I'll be shifting it up. Mine will be more square probably, or rectangular. It'll just be this part with the border. I'm currently only in the border. I did work on this a tiny bit this year. So we finally have some progress. This has had no progress in my WIP parade for the last like 3 years. This is on a 28 count ivory Jobelin, I think. 2/2 full crosses, unless it's called for other things. So I just added some. This medallion was already finished for the most part, and so I've been working one day. I filled in some more of the border. So there's back stitching and fractionals and specialty stitches and all the things. But again, if this one's on Everything Cross Stitch as a PDF, so I may whichever one I get to next, Fantasy Triptych or this one, I will probably try the PDF and see if it works in Pattern Keeper, and then get the other ones as I get to them next in my rotation. So the next one is JBW Designs Floral Alphabet. I am stitching this not monochromatically. I'm stitching it with 3 silks, Silks for You. I thought would be fun. So the letter portions are blue, the flower portions are pink, and the leaf and stem portions are green. And it's kind of hard to tell the difference, but I'm making judgment calls as I go along, and I have actually charted this out in Pattern Keeper stitch by stitch, and in the process was able to make those decisions along the way, so now I can just stitch, which is really great. So this is on a 28 count Demoiselle linen even weave by Picture This Plus, and it's 2/2 full cross, because I didn't think a 1/1 would work very well on with silk, because silk is puffy, Picture This Plus is puffy. I figured that'd be too complicated, so I went ahead and did 2/2 because I thought the color of this fabric was perfect for this color combination of floss. So this is almost the edge here, this H, and so it's not that big. So now that it's in Pattern Keeper, it will probably come up as like in various games I play, like with temperature stitching, with if I pick the 10 projects with the least amount of stitches remaining, I think this is one of them. So it should start coming out and seeing some more progress a little faster. Then we have a floral sampler. This is a fairly new start by Brenda Keys. I picked this up at the Pacific Stitching Retreat in February of this year. 1884 Stitchery was there, McKenna, and she was passing these out. So everybody got a Brenda Keys pattern. I liked this one, but I didn't want to do it as intensely as they are. So all of this background border part is full coverage. Not only that, but once I looked into it, the backgrounds of these corners are 1/1 half cross full coverage. Behind the 2/2 stitching, there's some like extra stuff all over the place, which if that's what you're going for, that's fine. But when I saw this, I just liked the elements, and I had a pretty fabric that I found there at the retreat, and I'm like, I'm just going to stitch the elements. I'm not going to stitch any of the foo-foo background, whatever. So I'm currently also in the process of recharting this one, which is a little tricky because I, have to make decisions as I go about what I'm going to stitch and what I'm not going to stitch. So this is my start, very tiny start on some mystery green fabric by Live and Dye LA. It's a 28 count, 1/1 full cross. So this will be small and much simpler than the original, but I think it'll still be pretty. Then we have Heirloom Stitching Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. And this is a really fun one. It kind of goes through the generations of learning how to stitch and passing it down in your family, which happened to me. And so I love this one. So I did most of this part up here. I think I'm starting in on the first scene, so I'm not very far, but it's a fun one to pull out, especially like World Cross Stitch Day and things like that. This is on a nice purple fabric. And this is where I've gotten to. I think I've done a little bit since last time. The top alphabet bit is done. It's 2/2 full cross on this mystery purple even weave. I don't have a name for it. It was given to me. These fun bands are finished, and then starting in on the trees. I think the trees are all done in that scene with their individual like types of leaves there. Some lazy daisies and straight stitches. So I picked all the colors from my stash they're miscellaneous. They're not really what's called for, but they go good with my fabric. So I kind of laid out what was called for and played around with the colors that would just stuff I had and would complement this crazy color fabric, because purple is very different than tan as far as what colors will go well on it. Next we have My Story by Jeanette Douglas, and I'm currently working on this as a WIP Go project, so it's got more progress than you saw last update video. And again, I'm picking fancy flosses for my stash, similar to what's called for, but it's all different than what's called for. This is a 32 count linen. I think it's raw or natural linen. I think it's natural, maybe. But this is a, oh no, maybe this is lamb's wool. I'm not sure. But this is a 32 count. So if it's cross stitch, it's 2/2. And then there's a lot of specialty stitches. So this column is finished. And I've worked more recently in these the tops of these 2 columns, so I could do from the top down. Just this week, yesterday I finished this cross stitch frame. So hopefully I'll get to put in the rest of the elements there today and keep going pulling these down. So this is one I would love to finish sooner rather than later. There might be, I put it into my WIP Go board. There's some more time. One more time? I don't know. But it's, may not get done this year, but for sure I'd like to finish it next year if I don't get it done this year. Then I have my Quaker flag, which is kind of on the edge of, you know, sampler, but since it's a Quaker piece and Quaker tends to be a sampler style, I went ahead and put it in the sampler category. This is by Vivsters as well. And this is the extended flag. She made a shorter version. Originally, I think, is about that big. And then last year, 2 years ago, a bunch of people were doing flags from all around the world. She kept making more and more and more different flags and wanted them all the same size. So she extended this one. And there's also even a different, like a reverse. This one, you can see a lot of the fabric show through in all of these. And then this is solid stitching. A lot of the other country flags she did were all solid. So she did a version of the USA flag that's all solid as well, if you wanted to match them all. And you're doing more than one kind of thing. I liked the kind where it still shows through, so I got that one. And this is on 40 count vintage country mocha. And I'm doing it 1/2 full crosses with, I think the border color is called for, but I picked Victorian mottos and B5200 for like the blue and the red are Victorian mottos. And then B5200 to make sure it popped on my fabric. And the border is called for. So that's fun. I'm hoping to give this a lot more attention this coming year because it's the 250th anniversary of our country this coming year. So in July, this will be my bonus stitching project the whole month. So I'm hoping it'll get a lot of attention then. Then we have Sampler of Fleur by Jardin Privé. And this is really pretty. This was a kind of an experiment to use silk on 40 count to see what the coverage would be like. So I'm using a Soie d'Alger. Can't see the blues. Trust me, there's some blues in there. A Soie d'Alger conversion that I did at my LNS before it closed. So I could just lay out the DMCs and figure out what worked. It wasn't really an LNS. It was my local needlepoint store, which I guess is still LN, but not needlework, just needlepoint. So here is this one. This is on a 40 count Morganite linen by Fiber on a Whim. And it's 1/2 with the Soie d'Alger, very similar to what's the DMCs that are called for. And they're solids. So using the silk was just an experiment, which I like. I like the coverage, but it's not necessary. You can definitely use a DMC and it'll have the same effect. And I've been doing this for an AB Singo challenge here this month, so that's why I have scattered things all over. It's not just a solid fill in like once AB Singo's over, I'll go back to filling it in properly. But this has been fun to work on. I love the colors, they're very me. Then we have Secret Garden, which was a mystery stitch along by the Historical Sampler Company. And I worked on it a little more often earlier in the year. It's very springy colors. I worked on it this week and my sister pointed out to me, it's very spring colors. And right now we're kind of heading into the fall here. So I may or may not try to focus on finishing it this year. I may just wait and finish it in the spring next year, but we'll see. So this is the same mystery green even weave by Live and Dye LA, 28 count, 1/1 full cross that I'm doing the Brenda Keys floral sampler, the same green. So I have like this branch is all done from here. These bees are done. All of these motifs are done. This one just needs its base. This center bit is all finished. So I'm just starting in on the purple flowers over here, which is new. You haven't seen that if you watch my update videos. So that's a fun one. So yeah, this one, I kind of want it done sooner than later. But again, there's other things this year that I really want done. And since it's the spring colors, this may get bumped to next year to finish next year. We'll see. We'll wait and see. Next is Tapestry by Ink Circles. And this is a really pretty one. At one point, I was going through a lot of the designers saying, oh, I want to try something from that designer. I want to try something from that designer. And this is the one I picked from Ink Circles that drew me. And I ended up doing a color conversion with Victorian mottos that I had picked up. They're similar to what's called for. So it's charted for General Arts and with a DMC conversion, but I'm doing neither. So this is on a 28 count Jobelin, Ivory Jobelin, 1/1 full cross with that conversion I did. I think this is the same fabric that I am doing the English Garden Sampler by Teresa Winsler. Only this is 1/1, that's 2/2. So yeah, this is fun. I like these colors. And I now have this in Pattern Keeper, so I'm moving across the top, symbol picking in the top 10 by 10 row like I like to do, to work it from the top down from here on out. So started in the middle, worked up, came over, now I'm switching to top down. So that's been fun. This one is also it's in Pattern Keeper, so I don't really want to make it a travel piece because I don't want to have to take my tablet with me. But this also, because it's kitted up, it's over 1, meaning I don't have to count over 2. It could be a possible travel project option as well. Maybe at least for like school pickup travel stitching, not necessarily doctor's appointments because I don't want to take my tablet, you know, too much. But possibly that could be something to do in the pickup lines at school. So the next one is To Everything a Season sampler. And this I have a Pattern Keeper version of now too. It was a Busilicate when I got it, dated 97. I don't think I started it that far back, but it's possible. 99 maybe. But this is now, you can get the PDF from the Cooler Design Studio, and they call it Traditional Sampler over there on that website, but it's the same one. So I'm able to, and I'm using the kit everything, so it's got all the threads, and this was an even weave that came in the kit, 28 count, antique white probably, even weave, 2/2 full cross. And there are a few specialty stitches, like here in the heart, as well as some Borgello here, and these are like a square stitch things, but most of it is full crosses. So I'm working in here right now, and I'll actually put some more in this probably today, because this needs some attention for my baking show. So that's fun to finally get back to this one. This is likely possibly my oldest WIP. In the Beginning is another contender for my oldest WIP. I don't know. There's a bunch of them that are really old, and I don't know exactly which one is the oldest. Chaplin's Garden, To Everything a Season, In the Beginning, Antique Shoe Collection. They're all pretty old. All right, last two. We have the Twisted Band sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks. This one's got lots of pretty colors. I do enjoy this. I probably need to get it out more than I do, but it's pretty. This is on the called for 32 count bisque linen by Lakeside Linens. And oh, so pretty. And so the cross stitch bands are 2/2 full cross, and then the specialty stitch bands are usually 1 strand. And so it's just so fun. So I have turned the corner here, and I'm headed back down. I think the next Okay, so that's a cross stitch band. It looks like I finished it. So now I can do some more specialty stitches next time I pull this out. Yay! I prefer those bands. They're my favorite. All right, last in this category, we have Twisted Christmas Sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks. I saw this posted on her Instagram, I think, last year. I'm like, oh, I need that. And it's so much fun. I've been having fun with this. So I kitted it up with everything it calls for, the DMC and, you know, metallics and beads and stuff. So super fun. I'm doing it on a opal. It's like a raw silver 32 count to sparkle, because you need a little bling in your Christmas, and there's beads in every band, I think. So super fun. You probably, yeah, this is probably new from last year. So I have the first, these first bands, and I'm doing a variegated DMC for these like satin stitch bands, which is recommended that you use a variegated like candy cane color. So that's one I had a lot of here on hand, so that's the one I'm using. This will be pine cones, and I haven't done that one yet, but maybe this Christmas I'll do those pine cones. That'll be fun. So that's all of my samplers. Mostly non-traditional samplers, because that's how I roll. Colorful and fun, lots of specialty stitches. I actually have a good amount of time left, so I might go ahead and do my, we'll see. I still want to finish my travel stitch before I do my finish category, so I might just do other stuff for the rest of my day and still film my finishes tomorrow. So we'll wait and see. If I'm in the same shirt, you know I did it today. All right, I will see you later. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do most of my finishes today just because I'm kind of in the zone for filming. I wanna get it all done, and I'll just come back and share my last finish tomorrow and add it in, because I'm gonna have a day and a half, 2 days of editing anyways ahead of me. So I'm gonna do these. There's 27 finishes since my last WIP parade, which is exciting. So several of them are smalls that I started in that time too, so they're starts and finishes, but there's a good amount of them in here that are a little older, you know, so it's very exciting. So first of all, some of them you'll see a lot of here are in the Cats and Hearts series. So let's see. This is the August one. This is the first finish I had since my last update video, or since my last WIP parade. This was finished on September 14th, 2024. These are all on white Lugana 25 count 1/1 full cross. Called for DMCs except for the kitty cat, which I'm doing in 535 because it matches Smoky better than DMC 310. Then, oh, I didn't get that one. I'll be right back. Okay, this one was still hanging up on the wall in my son's room. This is Visit Endor by Country Magic Stitch. And I finished this on September 22nd, 2024, and gifted it to him. He knew I was working on it, but I gifted it to him for his high school graduation and framed it all nice like this. So yay! And then we have Cats and Hearts September, which is currently on display on my nightstand. So this is the September one, and I have it in here just, you know, changing them out like a photo. They're just flat. I keep them in a stack in a baggie and just sub them out once a month. So that's the September one. That was finished on October 15th last year. Then I finished Those Who Sing by The Drawn Thread. This was stitched on a 32 count mushroom slushy by Fabric Flare. This is one of those printed fabrics with some fancy floss from my stash. This one was finished on October 29th, 2024, and I think that's Colette, the Highway Stitcher's birthday, and this is one I started for her birthday, so I went ahead and put in the last few stitches on her birthday, which I thought would be fun. So there's a few specialty stitches like in these flowers but most of it is full crosses. So that was fun. That was a nice one. A lot of these, like, you know, I don't have a plan for fully finishing them. So eventually I have a portfolio, like a big art portfolio that will fit up to like a fat quarter of fabric. And I have plans to put finishes in there so I can have them easily viewed, but I haven't done it yet. When I do, I will come and share my, you know, what's in there. But so far it's empty. The next one I finished was Castle Homecoming Club by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is on a 28 count ice blue Lugana. It's a 1/1 full cross with fancy flosses for my stash, and it's so cute. I really like how that turned out. Very sweet. So that's a fun one. Then we have Cats and Hearts October. So that's that one. Was finished, the Castle Homecoming Club was finished on November 22nd, and Castle Homecoming, no, okay. Yeah, Castle Homecoming was November 22nd. October Cats and Hearts was on November 30th. So it was a little bit delayed on some of these, but this is the cute October one. Then we have Shine Bright Sampler, which is by Bonnie and Camille. Their Shine, I don't know if it was Shine Bright was the colors or if it was a new one. I don't know. But this is the Shine Bright sampler. We're using the Ari floss that they put together for this version. The original is a little more primary colors. This one's pinks and greens. And I really liked how soft it was. This is 1/2 on the 40 count Morganite linen. Using the Ari floss stranded cotton, a lot like DMC. So very fun, very quilty looking. That was finished on, Shine Bright Sampler was finished on February 10th. So this is the first one of the new year. And then I finished Cats and Hearts December on February 12th. So not that long after. This is a nice, like, more Victorian looking Christmas. Not reds and greens. It's more of a mauve-y color, which is fun. Very pretty. And then I finished a Mill Hill that I'd been working on for a while. This was finished on February 23rd. So here is Honeybee by Mill Hill. It's a buttons and beads kit, all framed up over on my dresser. You can see all the. This is the 14 count perforated paper and everything that came in the kit. Super pretty. Yeah, so that's a fun one. I like that one. Then I went to the Pacific Stitching Retreat and I had a finish like every day, practically, or more than one on some days. So the first thing I finished was my name tag. They put out a freebie for the retreat and I did it tiny, over 1 on 32 count. Sunset over California Lugana, which was the retreat fabric, and finished this on February 28th. And then I could wear it around the retreat, which is really fun. So that was fun. Then I finished my reindeer biscornu from Historical Sampler Company that I had started before, and then fully finished it while I was there into a biscornu. And love that. Super fun. This is a 16 count Ada. I say tan. This is clearly not tan. It's like a slate blue. And that worked really well. It was nice making the biscornu with Ada. It was very easy to put together. That was fully finished on March 1st. And then also on March 1st, which was St. David's Day, I finished St. David's Dragon, which is by Ink Circles, and she gave us this pattern for free, and it had a little more going on, but this is the part that I liked, so I figured I'd only do this part. And I brought along the colors and the Aida, because we were given a hint ahead of time what we would need to stitch it. We didn't know what the pattern was. I'm like, sure, why not? Let's do it. So finished that. Start and finish on the same day, I'm pretty sure. On March 1st. Then I finished my first Stitchy Seed Company project on March 12th. Daisies. This is by It's So Emma, and you can find these on the Fat Quarter Shop. Mine are all done on 25 count sand dollar Lugana by Bee Stitch Me, with similar colors to what's called for. They're all slightly different, but that was the first one. Then I finished another Cats and Hearts May, which I had skipped previously. I believe that's this one. I finished this on May 2nd. So then I could display it right away, which is nice. And that's the last Cats and Hearts that I have finished, but I have one more that I'm hoping to start today or tomorrow to get the last one done. So you'll have to see that later because it's not a WIP or a finish. Then I finished a big one that's been around for a long time. This is Heirloom Nativity Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. I finished this on May 6th, 2025. And I kind of altered this a little bit to just be more me, because I decided I didn't want to actually learn Hardanger. So everything is as called for, except I use a DMC conversion instead of the solid MPIs. And this is 32 count silver linen by MCG Textiles. And I did specialty stitches instead of Hardanger here at the bottom. And I think it's just fine. So yay, that's all done. And I have the hardware now to fully finish this into a bell pull for Christmas. So I will come back on my regular channel and show you the fully finish of that, hopefully before Christmas. So that's exciting. Got that finished. I got some needles in here I can repurpose now. So then I finished Robin Christmas Patchwork by the Historical Sampler Company on May 16th. It's in a finishing frenzy. This was a slightly altered version. I took out some blocks and shortened it, but this is the called for kit linen. It's a nice, sagey green. I love how it pops. It's 2/2 full cross, and all the blocks are called for blocks. I'm pretty sure this one might have been rearranged, but other than that, I kind of just took some out that I didn't care for as much and kind of just shrunk it up a little bit. So yay! It was normally going to be a little bit longer than that, but I'm happy with my finish. And then I finished Little Owl Patchwork Sampler, which was also a historical sampler company design. This is a 1/1 full cross on 25 count Bee Stitch Me in Frost. And this is the called for colors, the DMC colors. And it's so cute. So I like the wintry feel of that one. That was finished on May 28th, 2025. Then I finished Stardust, which was a freebie with the Fat Quarter Shop for the Make-A-Wish fundraiser. And this is a 1/1 full cross on cloud, 25 count cloud vintage cloth. And I used, I think these colors are called for, and then I adjusted the greens and the dark blues a little bit. And I really like how that turned out. It was quick, used it as a travel stitch for a little while. That was finished on May 30th. So May had quite a few finishes. Then I finished the next Stitchy Seed Packet travel stitch. I did violets, also 25 count sand dollar Lugana by Be Stitch Me. So pretty. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these yet. If I will, I don't think I'll display them in a frame like I'm doing some of my other monthly pieces, because these are not obviously monthly, they're all flowers. I could make them into project bags, I could make them into a wall hanging quilt thing. I don't know, or just put them in my portfolio. We'll see. Then that was finished on July 1st. Then I finished Meadow by Carolyn Manning on July 14th. This is 25 count moss Lugana, 1/1 full cross, called for everything. And that was a lot of fun to work on. The center is symmetrical, but each of the corners is unique, which made it a lot of fun to work on. And you do see the fabric show through. It's not full coverage. I enjoyed that one. And then I did finished another Stitchy Seed Packet travel stitch on August 13th. This is tulips. These are really cute. They're perfect for travel stitches. So I like having small things that I can just grab and go, fit in my purse. So those fit the bill real well. Then I finished my counted canvas piece on August 17th. This is Rosetto by Needle Delights Originals. And here is my finish. This is on the called for 18 count eggshell mono canvas. All the called for fibers. It was so much fun to work on. Everything is like a unique experience because it was either like thicker fibers, some of them were sparkly, some of them were like ribbons. It was really fun. So I do have another counted canvas piece that I have partially kitted, but I'll probably wait a little bit to get it started and maybe whip down a little bit first. But this was a lot of fun to do. Very, very fun. Still on its stretcher bars, but this one will probably end up in my portfolio at some point. Then I finished Azure Ornament on August 22nd. This was from the Smarty Owl on Etsy, and this is on 24 count light blue Congress cloth. So it's a stiff cloth, and it's all very, very spirally silks that I picked up from, they're from Silks for You. They were given to me as a gift. I'm like, oh, I need to use some of these silks. And they're so pretty. So that was a lot of fun working on that. It went together pretty quickly too, actually. Then I finished Snowmany Friends on August 23rd, 26th, just kidding, August 26th. Oh, I still have a needle minder on here. This is on Bee Stitch. The chart is from Luminous Fiber Arts, and I did mine 1/1 on Bee Stitch Me's 25 count Frozen Lake. 1/1 full cross, called My Color Conversion to Fancy Floss. And it's very cute. I love it. All the little critters. Very sweet. Then I finished another seed packet series. Dahlias on August 30th. I love these more burgundy-ish colors, mauve-y shades. Those were fun to work with. And then I finished another oldie but a goodie, Enchanted Alphabet, here in September 14th. Here is this one, all done. This was a 46 count linen in Society Time, 1/2 full cross, called for DMCs. And I did rearrange mine. I took the girl out of the middle, rearranged it, so now there's the bunny and the little bushes in the middle instead. But this one is a lot of fun. It's all DMC shading that they did. There are no variegateds in here. So that's a lot of fun. Very great, excellent charting. Lavender and lace. That was a nice one. Finally got that done. Yay! And then my last finish is not yet finished, so I will come back tomorrow, hopefully, and show you that one, and then I can wrap this all up in a big bow. But that was, including the one I'm hoping to finish today, is 27 finishes. That's pretty great. So I'm hoping next year probably won't be quite as many, because a lot of these were little ones for the travel stitches, and I probably will do a different situation for my travel stitching next year. But I am hoping to finish more things here at the end of the year, and I do want to continue to have finishes sprinkled in throughout the year, next year too. So hopefully I can keep going and just enjoy all of this and chip away at those smaller projects. So with that, I'll probably be back tomorrow real quick, and then I will let you go. All right, back on Friday, September 19th, I think. Yeah. Here for my final finish. So this is finish number 27 for this video. Since my last WIP parade, this is Poppies by It's So Emma, 1/1 full cross, 25 count sand dollar, and it's so fun. I like how these are turning out, so that's nice. So I will be starting my next travel piece this afternoon. I didn't add up all of my WIPs in this video. I might put a number here. I know it's well over 100. At one point I didn't want to go over 100, and then when I realized I'd already done it without realizing it, I'm like, well, it doesn't necessarily affect my desire to start that much. I have been desiring more to finish than I often am, because I realize I do have way too many projects right now. But overall, it doesn't stress me out to have that many. It gives me a lot of variety, which is fun. I do hope to get more finishes in the near future and just continue to chip away at everything and put time and attention into all of it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Now it's Friday here, so I don't know when this is going up. I have to still edit it all together, but hopefully I'll see you Monday for an update, and happy stitching. Bye.